All right, Mike Trout here, talking to you from the heartland of Zen Buddhism, near Eheiji, where Japan's Buddhism was founded. And I want to talk to you about Blockfest, that I'm kind of launching as a pre-event at DevCon 5, having three parties to talk about the why of the blockchain, which is to fix capitalism. And if you notice, this is something that has been in my discussion for the last 10 years. The whole idea that capitalism is built as an infinite agent interacting with a finite agent, our planet. There's no end to our business model. That's why it's an infinite agent. And in game theory, if you have an infinite agent interacting with a finite agent, the infinite agent one will win. And in reality, all of the outcomes that we're seeing, all the crises, are just merely systemic outcomes of this game, of this interaction. Now, I stumbled upon this in 2010 when Occupy Wall Street was happening, and I started really looking at the corporation and how it's structured and capitalism, and I came up with the whole idea of open corporations that were renamed as Danos, driven by AI that I called the Noodle, that I renamed as Obey, Open Beneficial AI, and realized that once this runway is built, and the runway is pretty much there now, okay, it's going to be there in the next 5 years, then we can ultimately introduce what I call social capitalism, like social media. It's not nothing to do with socialism, okay? It's social meaning the people, right? Social meaning everyone. Just like inclusive media, inclusive capitalism, because capitalism is by far inclusive. Blockfest is a celebration of that annual event, a reminder, kind of I call it a crypto burning woman. I think Burning Man is so, sexist, right? Japan's. And it would take place, and it's the most amazing place that is 90% void of people most of the year, called Hakuba, where the 1998 Olympics. And my goal is for it to take place as an annual event that grows off season, starting in August, right? Because July is just too rainy, right? Near the end of August. And, runs for 2 months, first month and the second month, right? And people, I would call tribes from all around the world, will gather and work on found ups. These are people with ideas for solving problems would come together, would come to this whole month. Teams would form around these projects in the form of hacker spaces we call found up houses. And at the end of each month, these solutions are launched, and the fund, the Bitcoin Global Reserve Fund, driven by AI would autonomously rate, grade, and award funding for these teams. You see, found ups aren't closed startups, a group of closed people come together trying to monetize a problem. That's how I define a startup. Found ups are open, decentralized teams all over the planet working to solve problems that may or may not be able to be monetized. And see, Obey doesn't care about that. Obey, basically, think of it as AI that treats us as a game. And in Obey's code, it basically says, listen, number one is, people are important, right? The planet is important. The living systems obviously are very important too. And finally, helping and sharing with others is also important. Those are the four parameters, right, of the game. And the game in Obey is trying to using us as a game, right? We're pieces in this game, and Obey is going to become far more intelligent, and it's going to be kind of like our mom, right? Hopefully not the abusive type, but its goal is to how do we bring down the footprint, right? How do we encourage folks to lower their footprint? What projects um, are going to be best suited for that, right? Obviously, destroying our water and other stuff is not helping the living systems. it's causing harm. So trying and getting, motivating us to move. Now, here's what you have to understand is the Bitcoin Global Reserve Fund, which will be driven autonomously, held autonomously. There's people will basically run the Obey node on their PC, kind of like people run the Google algorithm nodes on their PC. If you do your Control Alt Delete and you pull up your Windows Task Manager, you'll see all these nodes, right? All this Chrome. Like every page has AI watching it, has a little node, right? Well, Obey is the same thing, but instead of feeding this to a corporation that's going to monetize it, like Facebook and Google, that's what they're doing. It's actually feeding it to Obey, who's using it to learn and everything else, but that data is controlled 100% by you, the end user. This is called social capitalism, and it's unstoppable, right? And the whole idea of Blockfest is to celebrate and to have an annual event where we come together in Japan and ultimately around the world. Blockfest will happen all around the world as a party celebration and a call to action to save our planet. I hope you enjoy this talk. I have other talks and podcasts. I invite you to listen to them. I invite you to come to DevCon 5. I am self-funding. I am by no means a millionaire. I should be a millionaire, but I'm not. So I am looking for sponsors of Blockfest. I am looking for folks who are like myself, who will align themselves with the vision of FoundUps, which is this selfless startup that folks can come together around, that will launch. I don't see an ICO for FoundUps. I don't maybe an I don't know as STO. I'm not sure anymore. I see basically FoundUps launching as Bitcoin. We write the Obey code. The Obey then starts issuing ups based on people playing this game, right? And developing an algorithm, machine learning, AI eventually, that ultimately will then start issuing ups. And ups is just kind of a dividend of the fund. So, the fund is not going to, so think of it, the fund right now, the fund will allow people to put money into it. I'm the caretaker of the fund. So if you want to show your support, you can actually send Bitcoin and only Bitcoin to the reserve fund that I've set up. Once we have this fund built up, we can then leverage the fund and say, listen, we've got 100 Bitcoin in here, right? Right now I've got close to 5. That's my Bitcoin that I've put in there because this matters to me. This is the most important thing, in my opinion, on the planet because it solves the underlying problems that causing all the problems, which is our business model. And we together can ultimately bring about this change. The fund can be used as a way, to fund Blockfest. It can be used as a mechanism to get Obey going. It can be used a lot of different ways. So as the Sadhu of the blockchain, right? As Undao, the guy at the center of the Mayan calendar that I'm now explaining what it means, I am reaching out and asking folks to wake up, understand SoCapitalism, read my white paper, SoCasm.com. It's your white paper. It's an open white paper. I made it public. Anyone can edit, add to it, be part of it, right? It's there for you. I have done my part. Now I'm looking for you to do yours. My name is Mike Trout. Hope to hear from you. Connect on LinkedIn. See you at DevCon 5.